welcome to the fishing series. In this episode, we'll be discussing some of the different means of fishing, specifically the kinds that do not employ the use of a fishing pole. Let's go check it out. So, for starters, what will cause someone to need to fish for something by using something other than a fishing pole? Well, probably the biggest reason there is that for certain animals, it's just simply easier to use things like cages to catch much more animals at once rather than using a fishing pole to catch one at a time. And while it is certainly possible to catch a crab or something like a crustacean while using a fishing pole, it's happened to me plenty of times where they just pinch the bait or hook, pinch the bait or hook and hold on to it while I'm reeling it up. It's not the most consistent thing in the world or optimal thing because it's super easy for them to just let go because all they're doing is pinching it. It's not hooked onto them or anything like that. So with that out of the way, let's start off by talking about clamming, which is exactly what it sounds like, fishing for clams. The way you actually go about finding and catching clams is pretty simple. All you need is a pair of tools that can help you dig through the sand and a bucket to put the clams in. The hard part is just finding the clams. The thing you want to look out for when clamming is tiny depressions or holes in the sand that kind of have tiny air bubbles coming out of them. This is how clams breathe under the sand, and is what gives them away. Once you see some of these depressions and holes, just start carefully digging around the hole and on the hole and finding some clams, just digging them up. The next topic we'll talk about is harpoon fishing. Now, this is a very interesting means of fishing by which the fisherman employs the use of a harpoon, which is a long, sharp metal rod with a spiked end, to throw at things such as seals or whales to stick through their skin and stay in their bodies. I would say these days whaling and seal hunting are pretty taboo, honestly, and are much less common, but unfortunately still are certainly a thing that happens in certain parts of the globe. However, people still use harpoons to catch other fish as well. Typically bigger fish that it would make sense to use a large tool like a harpoon against. Maybe something like a Goliath grouper or a swordfish or a marlin, something like that. If a diver really wants to, he can certainly use a harpoon against a fish like that. Another means of fishing that plenty of Marylanders will be familiar with is crabbing. Essentially, the way you fish for crabs is through the use of crab cages that you stuff a bait inside of. People fishing for crabs will place many of these traps around a certain area that they believe crabs to be biting at or pinching at, and slowly make their way around the area where they place the traps in and pulling them up to see if they have caught any crabs. The way the cage works is that after you place the bait inside and you throw it into the water, the sides of the trap open up for the crabs to get inside of. They will stay inside the trap for a while, taking their time to eat. So once the fisherman makes his rounds around to the trap, he will pull them up, which shuts the gate sides, trapping the crabs inside, allowing him to bring the cage up safely with them inside, and so he can collect them. Lastly, I'll talk about the ways in which people catch crawfish. Now, the way you catch crawfish is pretty comparable to the way you catch crabs. However, the traps you would use on crabs wouldn't actually work on crawfish because crawfish are just too small. They would easily get out of these traps that are made for crabs. Typically, the kind of trap that people would use for crawfish would be something like a minnow trap or a minnow bucket that is designed specifically for catching crawfish. The way something like this works is the cage has two round holes. It's like ovular shaped, and it has two round holes on each side that allows the crawfish to get into the trap. But the trap on the inside is shaped in a weird way that makes it a bit more difficult for the crawfish to figure out how to get out. There's not really anything in the way to stop the crab going out the way it came, but it's really just all in the shape and engineering of the cage that keeps them from getting out. You place some bait inside the cage, leave it in a stream or a river for a while, and come back to see what you find what you've got. That's gonna do it for all the different types of fishing that I wanted to cover in this video. Tune in next time when we talk about the different underwater areas that fish like to hang out around. See you.